Wu, thank you so much for that overly generous introduction. Yes, all of that, and it's almost like you're the sister I never had. Um, I could be your mother, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's an honor to be here with all of you. Thank you to His Holiness Pope Francis, the Pontifical Academies, our chairs, Ram and Marcelo. Marcelo, your indomitable and indefatigable leadership has just been so inspiring to all of us. Thank you, thank you. The United States sit at a critical juncture as we do our part in accelerating the global transition to a future of net zero emissions. And we've talked a lot about in this summit to address the systemic challenges that are unique but interconnected, those beautiful words that Sister Helen said again yesterday. These systemic challenges are climate change, biodiversity loss, and social inequality. And in this Venn diagram, we at Social Finance are particularly focused on the aspect of social inequality as we work to create what we call win-win-win partnerships across all stakeholders to ensure that everyone benefits from the clean energy transition. And in particular, we're focused on what it means for workers, what it means to make smart investments in the clean energy workforce, as we simultaneously invest in our critical infrastructure and technological advances. I am so grateful to Governor Healy, to Chief Hoffer, and the entire administration for their leadership in positioning Massachusetts at the forefront, especially around our work in the climate workforce. As Governor Healy announced, Social Finance is partnering with the Commonwealth on what we call the Massachusetts Climate Careers Fund, an innovative first-in-the-nation program to prepare workers and equip them with the skills for the clean energy jobs that urgently need to be filled across the country and especially in Massachusetts in order to achieve our climate goals. Let me quickly explain why this fund is so important. We heard yesterday from Chief Hoffer that the first utility-scale offshore wind farm recently began operating off of the coast of Massachusetts. And with just 5 wind turbines right now, it's already powering 30,000 homes. And when it's completed, it'll power more than 400,000 homes, reducing carbon emissions by more than 1.6 million metric tons each year. Beyond reducing emissions, this project is also a catalyst for job creation and economic opportunity. With just this set of wind turbines, an estimated 3,600 high-quality job years are due in the pipeline. Now, as you appreciate, wind turbines manufacturing and maintenance requires specialized skills. If you've seen these wind turbines, a single blade is longer than an entire football field. They're built in massive warehouses, then shipped out to sea and assembled hundreds of feet above the ocean floor. And once in place, these turbines need routine upkeep alongside periodic upgrades when new technology becomes available. But here's the catch. There aren't enough people in the US trained to do this work. Whether it's wind, water, solar, geothermal, EV, the shortage of skilled workers to build, maintain, and upgrade these clean energy projects is massive. Often these are high quality, well-paying jobs that don't require a 4-year college degree. Wind turbine technicians make a median income of around $60,000 a year, which is 1.5 times that of the individual median income in the United States. The median salary for HVAC technicians is around $65,000 and quite similar for electricians and other clean energy roles. These are all great middle-class jobs with potential for upward mobility. But the middle skills gap is not just a challenge in the clean energy economy. The United States has been experiencing urgent labor shortages across industries. Indeed, as we continue to have a very low and historically low unemployment rate in the United States, we also have a very sustained high job vacancy rate with more job openings available than people looking for work. For example, in healthcare, we have an existential shortage of nurses. In IT, we have an urgent need to fill cybersecurity and other IT support roles. And in the next decade, it is estimated that we'll need over 30 million infrastructure workers to meet new demand and to replace retiring workers like technicians and installers and construction workers, and many of these are climate jobs. This, what I call the kind of labor market mismatch, this unfortunate dynamic is completely unsustainable. It's bad for business, it's a lost opportunity for workers, and it's detrimental to our clean energy future. Our workforce development system in the United States is well overdue for an upgrade. But how did we get here? To me, there are two main drivers. One, we don't spend enough as a country on workforce development, and we don't particularly spend it effectively. And two, the incentives are misaligned between workers, employers, and training institutions, with all the risks asymmetrically falling on the learner and little skin in the game by the employers. Historically, the United States has underinvested in workforce training programs. This stands in stark contrast to other industrialized nations. We allocate less to workforce training as a percentage of GDP, 1/3 that of the OECD average, 1/4 of this country, Italy, spends, and 1/6 of what Germany spends. In comparison, we spend 20 times more on traditional higher education than we do on skills training. While it might have been true historically, a 4-year college degree is no longer a sure ticket to the middle class in the United States. In part, this is because college degrees aren't sufficiently preparing our graduates for today's economy. And this kind of college for all mentality has contributed to an unprecedented student loan crisis with $1.7 trillion of debt held by over 40 million Americans. And while over 38% of Americans have college degrees, many more start and they never finish. Around 40% of college students drop out before they earn their degrees. And for those who do earn their degrees, many graduate without employable skills. Around half of college graduates are what we call underemployed, meaning that they have a job that doesn't need a college degree. And tuition costs, which are high, are only a small part, obviously a significant part, but not the most significant part often for students. Students need to take time off from paying work to get education and training, and then real life barriers come in the way, like lack of affordable childcare or lack of reliable transportation. These barriers disproportionately impact women and people of color, hindering economic mobility for these groups. So if we're to create an inclusive workforce, we need to provide more than tuition support to reduce the overall risk equation for people. And then finally, while employers are the greatest beneficiaries of a skilled workforce, they've been largely passive recipients of a talent system produced by the public system. We need employers to invest meaningfully in workforce training, informing curricula, engaging in career support, and actively recruiting from educational institutions. All in all, we can't achieve our climate goals without a workforce system that's effective, fair, and accountable. We need to rewire the system, or we risk moving forward with capital projects like that wind farm off of the coast of Massachusetts without the people with the skills to do the work. In Massachusetts, it's estimated that we'll need 34,000 workers to realize our climate goals by 2030. As Governor Healy said, the heroes of this clean energy revolution are the climate tech mechanics, installers, and technicians. Our task is to ensure that these opportunities are accessible to people. And this is why we're so excited about the Massachusetts Climate Careers Fund. It will help close the skills gap for critical green jobs, support a diverse climate workforce, and provide equitable access to good jobs. We're so grateful to you, Melissa, to the governor, and to the entire administration and the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. And Melissa, Chief Hoffer, your leadership has just been palpable. You are the country's first ever cabinet-level climate chief, and you're orchestrating this whole of government approach, engaging with all your peers across the agencies, from energy to transportation to education and workforce development and economic development on this work. And this fund is really about the talent finance model. So what exactly is talent finance? Instead of issuing one and done grants and hoping for the best, and we know that hope isn't a great strategy, talent finance models pool resources from government, private capital, and philanthropy to enable learners to gain skills and land great jobs. And then based on outcomes achieved, funding is then recycled so that more learners can be served. And this is how it's going to work in Massachusetts. Learners access zero interest, zero fee, outcomes-based loans to cover the cost of training. But we're also going to provide support for what we call the social determinants of work, the real-life barriers, like a car breaking down or losing childcare that easily derail people. We're focused on supports to help people persist and graduate, whether it's emergency aid funds, living stipend support, career coaching, and job placement services. Learners will be well prepared to begin in-demand clean energy jobs. Then, if and only if learners get a good job that is above a particular minimum income threshold, they'll repay just the principal with zero interest, or an employer will repay on their behalf as a way to attract and retain skilled talent. All the repayments will then recycle back into the fund to serve more learners into the future, amplifying the impact of each philanthropic and public dollar. Ultimately, this framework is designed to develop a robust pipeline of new workers to fill these roles. I want to underscore 4 key features that make this model unique. 1, it removes the financial risk from the individual. You only repay the principal if you get a great job. 2, it addresses the practical barriers that often get in the way of training. 3, it ensures that all parties, and specifically the employers, share accountability in the process. And then finally, the recycling nature allows dollars to go much farther to serve more people. Over the last decade, our team has been building innovative finance and talent finance approaches across the United States, at the state level from Colorado to New Jersey, and with the Google Career Certificates Fund, a national $100 million initiative to help 20,000 low-income Americans embark on tech careers to achieve $1 billion in wage gains. We've learned a lot, we've made a lot of mistakes, and that's why we're so excited to port all our lessons into the Massachusetts Climate Careers Fund. And throughout this conference, we've talked a lot about innovation, collaboration, and accountability. And we really believe that this cross-sector partnership with shared accountability has transformative potential. We are in a pivotal moment in the United States, and we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity thanks to 3 recently passed pieces of historic legislation: the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and the CHIPS and Science Act. These 3 landmark bills provide significant opportunities to strengthen people and communities through investments in a clean energy economy, catalyzing over $1 trillion in public and private investment. So, this is an opportunity that we cannot squander. If we are to invest and redesign our economy for a greener and more sustainable future, it needs to benefit the people who will power it. I'm delighted to join our colleagues from Massachusetts in advocating for a new path forward, and we hope that the Massachusetts Climate Careers Fund can serve as a blueprint for other communities, nationally and globally, seeking to align climate goals while also expanding economic opportunities for people, especially those who are most vulnerable among us. Thank you.